Good evening. You're watching the Chucktown Wind Report Sunday night update. It is about 8:20 p.m. on November the 15th. We're going to talk about the winds for the next couple of days and even some of the weather through mid to late week. So right now, what we have on our surface map is we have center of high pressure still remaining over the Carolinas. Originally thought this might be a little bit further to the northeast. Just shows how tricky these forecasts can be sometimes when high pressure is not forced into a location to become a blocking pattern. It actually has just sort of built over the entire south or southeast to eastern half of the United States and been allowed to sort of expand in that manner. But what that does is the closer we are to the center of high pressure, the weaker the winds are. So we weren't able to see that gradient today. I kind of caught that yesterday and did an update, and we weren't able to see that higher build today. The chances went on the lower confident end on it. And as we get into tomorrow, we're looking at a very similar pattern as this center just sort of remains. It may drift a little further east. We could see a small gradient, slightly tighter gradient out of that. So I'm going to call winds for 9 to 13 knots tomorrow. We could see a couple of extra knots during the early to mid-afternoon on a couple of pulses, but I think our gradient's going to remain fairly weak overall for tomorrow as well. We'll probably see some clouds increase, some higher and mid-level clouds in the sky. Might make for some decent sunrises and sunsets. But as we get into Tuesday, we see this high pressure up here in Canada start to wedge down into the northeast United States with that boundary pushing ahead of it. That should fizzle it out and join that high pressure to the south and give a reinforcement where we see the gradient increase. So we're looking at medium confidence on that as we see 9 to 13 knots tomorrow become more of a 13 to 17 knots on Tuesday. We could see some higher builds even closer to 19, 20 knots during the backdoor sea breezing if the air temperatures come up enough. I think we might be able to see that, especially with this reinforcement of high pressure. Now, as we get into the week, as we get into Wednesday, we're going to see high pressure build pretty firm out here. We have this low, upper level low heading towards the Great Lakes, another warm shot of southwesterly air from the warmer Pacific waters injecting into the southwest United States through Mexico. But once this makes a connection to the Gulf of Mexico over on the eastern half of the Midwest, we're going to see some very severe weather outbreak potentials go on across this area of the United States. So we have a lot going on with severe weather coming into the picture for midweek and into Thursday. And as we get into Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, this cold front will approach. We'll probably see some effects from it, not as severe as the middle of the United States. But once that pushes through, high pressure is going to build in behind it, and we'll see some northeasterly winds build in by Friday and lasting through Saturday and possibly even into Sunday. So that's really far out, but just wanted to give you a heads up on what's going to be going on for tomorrow. So looking at the GRE, here's our radar. You see some mid-level clouds, mid to upper level clouds kind of streaming up into the east as the jet stream pushes from west to east for now. We can see the upper level low developing over here over New Mexico, and it's going to be heading towards the Great Lakes, and that's what's going to make the connection to the Gulf of Mexico for all that severe weather that's going to be pumped up from the south ahead of this thing. So that's where all of our severe weather is going to be coming from. If we look at water vapor imagery, you can sort of see that low coming together over here. It's not very well defined yet, but it will be over the next, I'd say, 12 to 24 hours. All right, let's take a look at Datascope. And here's the Charleston area for right now. We have 6 knots in the harbor. Fairly light, fairly weak gradient overall, not expecting very much. And as we get into tomorrow morning, we'll see a couple of pulses up near 10 knots. And then by early to mid-afternoon, we may see some 13, 14-knot surges with a few little higher gusts. Look for ups and downs as the gradient won't be very solid. So the weaker the gradient where you have kind of a flexing in and out, you see those winds sort of come up and down. But as we get into Tuesday, that's where I'm calling for some mid to upper teens to develop on the east-northeast flow. So that's going to do it for the Chucktown Wind Report immediate forecast for the next 48 hours. And I'll touch base with you either tomorrow or Tuesday to give an update on the weather then. Thanks for watching.